Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today I have my friend, my designer, homie, person that makes Lessons with the King look amazing, Omotola Oyefodunrin.
Correct.
Got it right.
All right.
Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so how did it start, this whole arts thing?
Man. Okay. Well, if we're going all the way back.
All the way back, yes.
All the way back. So, funny enough, I was actually not very good at arts.
Okay, that's not... Okay, fine. I'll take your word for it.
I didn't like arts. And my earliest memory I even remember is I was in primary school, arts lesson, and I didn't want to do anything so much so that the teacher actually set me out. And out of happiness of not wanting to be there, I actually ran out and have enjoy.
Well,
Do you know he slapped me? He actually slapped me and punished me.
holy shit!
You know that Nigerian punishment kneel down, raise up your hands.
Right.
So there's me there for the next 2 hours.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
So yeah, so that's one of my earliest memories. So where my art journey kind of started was so in Nigeria, I started off secondary school in a day school. So from that day school, I then transferred to a boarding school in the next year. So that'll be year 7 or year 8, somewhere around there. So in this new school that's now a boarding school, they had this thing called slum books. So basically it was just like a notebook, but then people would draw in them. Like they just draw anything. For any Nigerian listening, you probably remember Super Strikers. So,
yes, with his freaking checks.
yes, Shegs Okoro, them people there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was what everyone was drawing, and I'm the new guy. I didn't want to feel left out, so I got myself a notebook as well, started drawing. And then I noticed as the years went by, less people started to draw, so I went into what we'd call GST, which would be like year 9 here. I got into year 9, I'm still drawing. I got into senior school SS1, I'm still drawing. Like at this point, very few people are still, but I'm like, I kind of like this.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it'll be year 10 or year 11, I'm still drawing SS2. So I'm like, and then people are now telling me I'm good, but I can kind of see, but not really. But I know in my art class then, I was kind of one of the good ones. So I'm like, okay, there must be something here. So then now you get to this point of, okay, what do I want to do with my life? I know I like art, and I know I'm good at computers. How do I mix these two things?
Right.
So the idea of graphic design was kind of floated around, but I didn't really know, if I'm being honest. I remember we traveled as a family, me, my mom, her best friend, our family, we went somewhere, and then they asked me, what do you want to do? Do you know I said, I don't know.
To your mother, okay, good luck.
My mom was there, her best friend was there, asked me, what do you want to do? I was kind of giving wishy-washy answers.
Right.
I said, yeah, I should actually start, know exactly what I want to do. So that happens, I finished school. I then because I was in Nigeria then, I wanted to go to the UK. I went to a foundation school and I did business studies. So I'm like, okay, how do you, someone's probably wondering from business studies, how did you get into art? So this is the thing. One of the university degrees you could go to from that foundation course was animation. So I saw that in the brochure, like, okay, this looks interesting. So I went to Oxbridge Tutorial College in Lagos, for anyone who probably knows that school in Nigeria. So I went there, did 1-year course, finished. I applied to Leeds. At the time was Leeds Metropolitan University. Applied there, got in. Then I studied 2D animation for 3 years, so from 2013 to 2016. So at the time, my art is kind of okay, but I'm still new to... I don't know there's a whole animation industry. I don't know there's a whole video game industry. There's a whole book making, children's book. Like, I didn't know any of that. I just knew, okay, well, some people draw. Like, I didn't even know you could make a living off of drawing things. I'm like, wow. So my eyes started to open once I came to the UK. It's like, wow, people really make this and they use it for a living. So I'm going through this. I'm learning all the animation. I'm improving my skills slowly and surely. I then quickly realized I don't quite like animation.
No.
No.
Why? Like, what
It's-
didn't you like about it?
So they taught every style of animation, like the old school, like the sketch, flip the paper, sketch, flip the paper. So it's the whole 24 frames, no, 20,
24 frames.
24 frames a second, yeah. So I didn't look like long term, like, could I do this well into I was 60? Probably not, you know?
Right.
But I like the designing aspect. Like, I like the idea of, okay, let's design the main character. Let's design the world that this character lives in. Let's design the props, the the gloves, the car, the spaceship. I like that aspect of like drawing what will then be used. So at this time, my knowledge of the industry is still kind of surface. Like, I don't know how all these elements work. Now I know, but then it was still very vague to me. But I just knew I liked designing. So I started shifting from draw, flip, because they taught us like that. Then they taught us flash animation. They taught us stop motion, time lapse, a whole bunch of different like, traditional type 2D animation. So I go through my 3 years, I graduate. Then I come back to Nigeria for 1 year so I could prepare to come to Canada because there's the whole PR, you gotta immigrate, better life. No one wants to stay in Nigeria. Basically, Jackpot for anyone listening, Jackpot.
Right.
So 2017 now, I go to Vancouver Film School in BC.
To study.
So I studied animation concept arts. So pretty much what I was just describing to you.
Right, the spaceships.
So let's design the characters, the spaceships, the backgrounds, everything that's gonna be used and moved around in. Like, that's the kind of stuff so that's why I went to study. So I did that for 1 year.
How was that?
It was pretty cool. Like, that was the first time I felt like I had a proper community of artists. Like, we're all like, it was so weird because not half, but a number of people there didn't speak like, proper Queen's English. Like, some people were like Mexican, some people were like Brazilian.
Oh wow!
So there's a whole range of like level of English in the class, but we could all still understand each other. So it's quite cool seeing all these quote unquote nerds in a classroom. Like, I'm talking 12 midnight, everyone is still in there sketching.
Well,
like, hey, what do you think about this? We're discussing the latest anime that's come out, or we're talking about, some old school artists from back in the day. Like, it felt like a real good community. So I enjoyed I felt like that's where I had the most growth in the shortest amount of time possible, because around other people that could like give me critique, I could, share ideas, they could give me ideas. I love that. But other things too factored into, because you're obviously wondering, well, you went to Vancouver, that's where the animation hub is. Why are you in Halifax? So, remember the Jackpot thing?
Right.
Well, come to find out, when you come to Canada, private schools, because Vancouver Film School is a private school, they don't qualify for postgraduate work permits.
No?
Nope.
Oh wow!
And I found this out.
I literally just found it out now.
Yeah. I found out midway through my program.
Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Wow!
So here's me, how many thousands of dollars in? I'm like, so you mean
when you finish, you have to like...
I had to hustle. And I should have known there was a red flag, because before we came to Canada, I would call them from Nigeria, say, jobs, blah, blah, blah. They started talking about, we'll help you get lawyers, we'll help you set up seminars. Never a direct answer as to, because the dream they sell you about Canada back then is, come here, there's just jobs littered everywhere. There's a job waiting for you. In fact, they're fighting for you. That was the dream that they sold to me. I was like, wow. Me and my mom believed this, so it wasn't like I saw it or she saw it. We both got sold the same dream, and then we found out the reality of Canada when we came. So now I had a choice: go to Nigeria or find another course somewhere. So, I still like drawing. I still knew I wanted to do this as a career, as a passion. And as a byproduct of drawing and learning Photoshop and Illustrator, these are all like the standard tools for designer stuff. Uh, graphic design sort of became the byproduct of learning all these things.
Right.
So I knew how to use the tools. So I then thought, okay, what's the shortest course I can do to just qualify for this work permit so I can then find a job, get PR, blah, blah, blah. In the whole of Canada, the one cheapest, shortest course I could find was right here in NSCC,
Wow.
Dartmouth. And as it just so, as God would have it, my family, my aunt, mom's younger sister, just happened to be moving here at the exact same time.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
So talk about favor, right?
Right.
As they were moving, I was moving here for school, so boom, just moved in with them. So I come here for school, NSCC. So I did applied media and communication. So it's basically photography, graphic design, video design, sound design, key skills. That's like presentation, like talk in public, how to write an email, write a letter. There was something else, but it was basically all those things. So I did that, graduated.
And how was that one?
That was good as well. It was a little different. I went from being one of the youngest in the class to being one of the oldest.
Oh, because of the switch.
The switch, yeah. So like I'm in class with like 18-year-olds
Right.
17-year-olds who don't know what they're doing during life. It's so weird to me that you can get to that stage of life, but then I look back at myself like, yeah.
Yeah, what's that before?
But the difference is I didn't take out 20K to do stuff. I didn't take out 20K to find out I don't like something. You know what I mean? Like it's still bought food somehow.
Fair enough, yeah.
So, I did it was still fun though. I had fun. The teachers, they were good. It was a little hard because I had to commute from Bedford where I was living. So
to Dartmouth every day?
yeah, every day.
Wow.
Yeah, or at least when I had classes. So take the bus 90 from Bedford all the way down to Waterfront, ferry over, walk, especially when it was snowy.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So and there were many times where I'd go to school, I get the email at 7 a.m. Oh, class has been cancelled, so now I have to bus all the way back to Bedford.
God damn.
Stressful times, but yeah, no, that 1 year. So this would have been 2018, from 2018 August to 2019 June. So that's when I was studying in SCC. So yeah, after that I graduated. I didn't really, because at this time I started to dawn on me the realities of how hard it is to get into the industry, because you have to realize now you're not just fighting for a spot with your fellow like people in your age range. You're fighting with people who've been here for 20 years, 30 years. Like they're also looking for like freelance jobs, and it didn't dawn on me that not many people in this industry are actually full-time. Like if you find someone that's full-time, they either know the person in the studio, they either co-own the studio, or they're just so good that someone just kept them on full-time. But rarely will you see someone full-time in like the animation industry or the TV and film video game industry. It's, it's not some, especially someone my age, like what, 28, 20, unless you're that good, it's rare that you see that. So, I graduated, just doing jobs here and there. Then I got a job working at IKEA, where I was actually kind of doing graphic design, actually, funny enough. So I did that for 6 months. Then finally, my big break came in 2021. A studio here called Cartoon Conrad. They posted a job. They were looking for background artists. So a background artist basically is, you see all those rough storyboards like in Disney animation where it's like the stick figure and whatnot. So think of that as like storyboard basically. So a background artist will take that rough sketch, clean it up, make it look nice, black and white. You ever seen like DC Comics where it's just black and white, like clean looking, sharp? So that's kind of what a background artist would do, specifically in animation. So I got my first big break with Cartoon Conrad, 2021, worked with them up until the next year. So I finished my contract with them in March of 2022. In between that, I then started a new job as a graphic designer again. in a company. So yeah, that's kind of been my journey since.
So, like, do you still draw for yourself or?
Yeah, I still, so in between that, I still do like little side projects here and there.
Mm.
What I'm doing now is I'm doing a bit of like personal development on like I want to hone down on um, what style that I want to have as an artist. Because when you think of like when you think of the people who sell out the most, it's because they have a distinct style that people like and they've come to love over the years. So
Mm.
I want to be able to develop my own style that people can see and they know that it's Tola that did that, and then people keep coming back. So whatever it is I put out there, just they latch onto it. So
Wow.
that's where I'm at now. That's why I don't post as much anymore. I just want to really work on that so that I didn't having the style and the consistency, because with the algorithms now, bruh, you have to post like daily, like, and maybe I don't know if it's my age or just the area I'm stuck in, but like I'm not used to like I have to post every
I
day.
understand exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so now let's get into the work. This dude, what's the story here?
So this painting, right? Funny enough, there's a food channel. Wait, can I mention
Yeah.
channels? Okay, there's a food channel. It's called Best of a Food Review Show. The guy went to Kenya and he was filming the Maasai tribe. So from that, watching a food video, I got the inspiration to draw something about the Maasai tribe. And because with art, it's weird. You never know where your inspiration will come from. It's just like the most random thing. So from watching a food video about the Maasai tribe, and I thought, let me make a painting about maybe this group of people in this colorful land somewhere doing something, or there's some kind of history there. So if you look in here, I have like these little statues here. I have all these monuments. So that kind of suggests maybe this is like a civilization that people don't really know much about. I kind of use the colors to make it colorful as well. It's just like I want to like when you look at it, you want to find out what's going on here. Like, who are these people? Why are they just standing there with these sticks? They look like gods. Like, nope, you need a visa to come in here. So that was the inspiration behind this.
When you work on your work, or like for your Instagram, things like that, is this what app is this? What do you do this on?
So this I did specifically Procreate. That's only on the iPad.
Oh.
Yeah. But my first love is Photoshop.
What do you love about Photoshop?
It's what I started with.
Right.
And I used it for so many years. I think what had happened was on the iPad, the color is just so much brighter and it's more truer to the actual color.
Oh.
And the UI is very like user friendly. I mean, I know how to use Photoshop, so it's not daunting to me. But for a new person who just opens Photoshop and it's just
so many things,
you might not get it, but
right.
But yeah, I transitioned to Procreate just because of that color and whatnot.
Yeah, you really love color though. Like this.
Yeah, these are more exploratory kind of ideas. So this one, I was exploring the idea of like God in the beginning when he was making the heavens and the earth. So this is a Hebrew inscription. I think it means Yahweh. I believe. I'm not sure exactly, but I think that means Yahweh in Hebrew. So I was just exploring the idea of God in the beginning, just making everything and just bringing everything to being. So that's where this inspiration comes from.
Wow. So much details. This is also Procreate?
Yes, literally everything there is Procreate.
How long would it take to make this? Something like this?
This one, See, if I had my iPad in front of me, I could actually tell you, because it records every stroke you make and tells you how much time you actually took.
Oh.
If I had to guess, maybe 2 days, 3 days. But it's not like 3 days at stretch. Like it's stop, sketch.
Okay, so I think this is one of the ones I saw on like.
Oh yeah, this is inspired entirely by COVID.
Yes.
Entirely by COVID. That period, I was just like, because they kept saying stay the blazes at home,
Yes.
stay inside, stay inside. So in my head, I'm always thinking of like sci-fi, fantasy ideas. So, I just like, okay, stay inside. All right, let's draw something that's very like spooky, like sci-fi. It's like, have you seen Blade Runner, for instance? That kind of
The
gave me the
vibe.
inspiration for this,
Yes.
combined with COVID, combined with, everything was just going on in the
Why
news.
the triangles though?
Um, to be honest, that was more, I just seen that used a lot in, so when I'm working, I'll have like some references. And I think what happened was there was a lot of that kind of shape language in there. The
Mm,
triangle it sort of draws you to it to look at it. It's like, oh, this might be dangerous. This might be, especially with the use of the red as well. I just
and it's like
did that.
super neon
And
too.
it's neon. I was really going for that, like neon, cyberpunk, rain as
Yeah, I
well.
love this. I love that
Yeah.
guy. Okay. Then this one too.
Yeah, this is one of my more recent ones.
Hmm.
This is also me exploring the idea of so how people like sometimes they feel, oh, I've done so much evil. Uh people just they when they've gone so far left and they feel like, oh, there's no
It's too
redemption,
much. Yeah.
like it's too much, like no one will ever forgive me. But this is me like explaining first, I think it's First Peter 2:9, where it says, come on to me and I will give you rest. I believe I might be wrong on that. But this is me essentially like exploring the idea of it doesn't matter what you've done,
It's all
and
good.
it's all good, like just like it's all good, just come to me. So you see this guy, that's like a guy who's still contemplating like, oh, man, but I'm so evil. Like I beat up somebody last week. Oh, I got drunk and blah blah blah. Like I still want to live in his sin, but then Jesus is saying, nope, doesn't matter. Still come to me. I'll give you rest.
Mm.
So that's what I was exploring there.
Yeah, so detailed.
Yeah,
I think that is the thing I really love about your work. I remember seeing it, and someone pointed me to Instagram, like it's so detailed.
yeah.
So I mean, and I know it's all on like your iPad and stuff, but when you are working and you're looking at the reference, whatever, like what are you looking for when you want to make the work?
So when I'm working, I'll have the rough idea of what I want in my head.
Mm.
Um, so what I'm doing with reference is I'm either looking for color choices or I'm looking for brush strokes, like how someone, there's a thing called brush economy in art, where it's basically using the least amount of brush strokes with the maximum effect.
Oh,
So you
right,
see all
right.
those old painters, they make like 5 brush strokes and it looks done. Like there's a guy, I wish I remember his name now, but he's famous for that whole brush economy thing, like just the least amount of strokes, but then it looks like it's finished. So I'm either looking for that, or I'm either looking for color choices, or I'm actually looking for a story. Like sometimes you see a piece of art that there's a story in there that could help your story, help flesh it out. So I'll usually make a mood board or a contact sheet. It's basically the same thing, just different terminologies.
What is typically in a mood board?
Mood board, you're typically gathering images that have the same color theme or the same patterns or the same sort of feel idea. It's usually always something, a lot of the same colors, patterns, storytelling, whatever fonts, depending on whatever it is you want. So basically, it's just gathering a bunch of reference, just anything to help fuel the creativity.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. So much. Okay, this one. I think this is one of your favorite work of mine. Like my favorite.
Well,
Basically, your work that is my favorite.
yeah,
That's what I was trying to say.
I-
But yeah, so this one
yeah,
is again details. So that's what I really love about your
yeah,
work. It's so detailed.
yeah. This is me also. This is when I was still really like loving Procreate and just exploring it. To be honest, this one is straight and simple. I found a picture of a cute looking baby on the internet. I thought, it'll be interesting. I haven't done a portrait in a while. Let me, you know, paint a portrait of a baby. And that's pretty much all this is. I was just exploring the colors, the browns, making it look
Yeah,
warm,
and the lighting
lighting.
too. When you're like, is that part of your animation skills coming into the lighting? Because that lighting looks like it's well lit.
Yeah.
We're about to shoot a scene right now.
Yep. Yeah, so I think that's also the, like you said, the animation bit. Some things I learned in animation sort of transfer into when I'm designing now. So I'm sometimes I'll design and I'll think, if for any reason this needed to be made into a film project or whatever, how could I make it so that it's just ready to go? So it could be the lighting, like you say, like that. It could be something else, But yeah, that definitely comes from the
So
animation
much
bits.
detail. I wanted to bring one of my lessons to the king, but I just checked. I forgot it. So let's talk about that one, because you've
Yeah.
made a couple of things for me, but I remember saying, "Oh, I have this idea for this show." Told you the concepts, and I was like, "But the thing is, each thing has to be on a card and
Yep.
everything." How do you even come up with that thing? Because I've not talked about you. Talked about it with you.
You know, the lessons with the king one. So when you gave me the idea or the rough idea, same thing. I usually would just gather a bunch of reference and just like, okay, what is the general idea here? I don't remember if I sketched. Did I send you a sketch or
No,
did I?
no, you just sent one thing that had like and I was like, "That's the one."
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yes. So when you gave me the idea, I sort of already had the picture in my head of kind of what it should be. I just didn't know the colors because
Right, it was the colors I
that's
took.
one of my areas that I'll confess that I'm not as strong as. I usually struggle to pick the right colors. When I eventually get the colors, I'm satisfied, but it takes me a while to pick. I don't know why. It's just a struggle that I have. So I had the idea in my head, but the color scheme, like I was even thinking, okay, just go with blue because blue usually means like strong, solid, like responsible, trustworthy.
Mm.
But I was like, well, you don't want to just be all blue. You can bring some fun, and life into this. So I just, so that's where my head starts to go. I just like throw a bunch of colors on this, like anything, like how they say in Nigeria, anyway in our way, anyway in our ways, wherever benefits, So I just throw a bunch of colors on there. And then slowly I start to filter like, okay, that definitely doesn't work. That could work. Okay, let's leave that. Okay. You start to filter down.
Right.
So from 10, you have like 3. And from 3, you have 2 solids. So
right.
that's usually my
No, I
process.
love it. And one of the plans I have, someday I'm going to have a studio in my house.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on all the walls.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to keep printing it. Just be
Yeah.
ready because another set is coming. Also, that's the other thing. Why are you so fast? Because, each one is different.
Yeah.
Like, it takes me weeks and weeks to actually write it out.
Yeah.
But when I send it to you, it's like done. Like,
so I think, how many have we done? 800,
Yeah.
right? I think the first 1 or 2, they did take me a while just because it was so much volume. I think I've just come up, the thing with and with life, anything, when you're able to set up a system for anything, it just becomes
Right.
easy. And I think also the added factor is I've also upgraded my systems as well. So I cannot give the full context. So I've also I got a new iMac since then as well. So the system's a bit faster. So I'm able to do a lot more quicker. So yeah, I mean the first few ones took me quite a bit, but now I have a system where okay, as soon as I get the first 100, what I usually do is I'll take 2-3 hours maybe. Just do half of them. Just go. I just copy. So I have a system in place where I can just copy, replace, copy, replace.
Okay.
I wish there was a faster way, and I feel like there is. It's just I haven't figured it out yet. So if possible, I could almost get them to you in a day.
Holy shit. Anyway, no, it's so fast, but I'm really, really grateful for that. Talking about that, I have to say congratulations. Now we're Mr. Somebody, you've always been a Mr., but now you're married. That's what I mean. You know what? I always wonder, like, is there any, like, now you're married, is there any difference in general to you that you've noticed?
Man, well, one, my time is definitely not my time anymore. Like the old me would have been able to go out at like
Right.
midnight, come back home at 2 a.m. wherever. I'm not clubbing by the way. Mommy, I don't club. just in case, no, I don't club. But you know what I'm saying? Like I could easily just go anywhere. Like I didn't care. Like I could go, come back, whatever time.
Mm.
I could take as much time or as little time as I needed, you know, things like that. Or, you know, even when it comes to money, like you have to lay everything out there on the table.
This is what it is. And
I was never really a reckless spender before anyway, but now we have to literally account for every cent, not even every cent that has been spent.
Right.
Because if you don't, you get away with it one time, but then it snowballs, becomes a thing, and you build distrusts, and you know it just becomes like a whole hassle, and it's not good. So definitely laying out all the finances on the table. My time isn't really my time, but in the sense it's also good because now I have someone that's always there. So you know there's quote unquote pros and cons.
Yeah, I mean, as with everything
As
in
with
life.
everything.
But when it comes to choosing someone, you're like, what were some of the factors that were behind that decision?
Well, for me, it was a few things. I mean, one being that you know I want to live my life in a way that's honorable to God. I wanted to have someone who also shares that belief. So that was like my first. That was like the first box that I needed to be ticked. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Now let's get into who you are now outside of that. So now, okay, are you good around people? Are you the kind of person that you know, when people come, you know, they like to hang around you. You know, you meet some people, the energy is off from the beginning. Like I told my wife this time about how when I was in the UK, I went to Birmingham, yeah. I've never seen a male snob in my life until that day. I've never seen a man that is a snob. Like, you know when you go to your guys, like a random guy.
Yeah, what's up?
Guys are usually quick to make friends. Like, I don't have to know, like, how far now, what's good, you know, that I don't have to say anything beyond that. Like, how far, even if it's a random person, even if it's my house, but I know someone I know invited you, like, how far. I'm in there, this guy just comes in. When I say he looks me head to toe and just walks. What the fuck? I'm like, brother. Not even how far.
What's up? Yeah.
Like you don't have to say anything beyond how far. Yeah, good. You good? Nothing. So you know that threw me off. So I don't like people who are like that. So I didn't want to spend my life with someone who's that way inclined, or you know will be around people who are that way inclined. So she didn't tick that box. My wife now, someone who's you know ambitious. You know I mentioned earlier that she's going to med school soon,
yeah.
so thank God for that as well. You know, someone who, you know, she has a personality as well, because in as much as I want someone who wants to honor God with the way she lives her life, I don't want someone who's like, you know, it's like, oh, let's have some fun. I just want to sit there and read Psalms 32. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's a time and place for that, but let's bond as friends, as family, you know. So she definitely has a personality that even if we didn't marry or date, like she would still be a good friend to me. So I'm happy about that. So good friend, not a snob, lives her life honorably to God. And what's the other one? And you know, there are other things, but you know, those were kind of like the top three that I just wanted to really take off.
No. Okay, so let's talk about this wedding. I mean, because you guys both met in Halifax and like, no, we want to go and marry in Africa. What's the story there?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, you know, it's African. This is all across the continent. So she being Zimbabwean, the way they marry is similar to the how Igbos in Nigeria marry as well. So the groom gets a list. He has to fulfill that list. There's also a bride price got to be paid. So it was a whole bunch of things. So the first thing that happened was we got the venue very early, which kind of set everything into motion.
Oh.
So we got the venue very early. Had to start applying for visas, booking DJs. I thank God I have a mother who is very passionate about this sort of stuff. Like, so for context, my mom is a senior banker back home. So she's used to dealing with multiple things at the same time.
Right.
So when, her son's about to get married,
It's like, I'm on top of it.
mom is on top of everything. When
Yeah.
when we're talking to some of the vendors and I'm seeing spreadsheets and Excel pages, I'm seeing numbers that don't even make sense to me.
Right.
I'm seeing like 5 different people for the same thing. I'm like, man, is it me that's getting married?
Yes.
Oh man, it was so many things good, but we're grateful that my mom, her parents as well in Zimbabwe, like they turned out in Zimbabwe. Like they're not Zimbabweans are not as expressive, loud, as us Nigerians, but in their own way they get down too. So, with that, so obviously being that, I'm the one going to get a wife from them, we have to go to Zimbabwe to do that. So we went in November. So we did the traditional there. My mom and a couple of my family. So normally with Zimbabwean weddings, it's called Lobola or Rora, depending on where you're from. It's usually very intimate. They only usually allowed me 10, 15 people, but us Nigerians, we're coming in whole squad.
Right.
So we came in about 40 people deep.
Oh my
whatever.
God.
Like few
half the plane.
Yeah, it was a lot. So we got a lot of people in. But for the actual Lobola, so the way it works is kind of a negotiation
Right.
thing, so some people might be familiar with how this goes, but essentially you and your the core family are just in a small room somewhere. There's intermediaries back and forth. We want this, we can pay this, etc. So that happened. Then the actual presentation, everyone comes to eat. We had a tent out, like 300 plus people in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Which was more than my wife thought, because we thought it was just going to be, in the house and everything. We even saw the tents. But then the negotiations and everything finished, and then we go to another place, and it's just like
all the people. Yeah.
Like everyone's like, wow, this is crazy. So we did that. It was lovely. Flew to and this is another thing. Do you know my wife? Her interview for med school was the next day after our wedding. Bruh, so Saturday she gets married.
Then she goes.
Sunday at 6, because that would have been 3 p.m. here or 12 here.
Oh, right. Time difference.
So we had to, because we went to her city, which is Gweru, which is 4 hours away from the capital, which is Harare. So we drove by bus 4 hours in the morning, lodged at a hotel. She got ready, slept for an interview. So under immense pressure and lack of sleep, my wife did an interview, and we're just like, man,
and still nailed it because she's going to medical school now.
This, so thank you, Jesus, for that. So that happened.
Yeah.
Flew to Nigeria. So then we stayed there for 5 days, and then the wedding, not wedding, celebration, because at this point we're married now, right? So the celebration in Nigeria is just everybody, mom, grandma, everybody, friends of family, office people, church people. Our hall was like, we have videos on YouTube for it. And you look there.
You have to send me the videos because I've only seen the photos.
I'll link you the videos. But yeah, hall was massive. Like, according to what they say, there was about 1,000 people in there.
God damn.
Food was flowing, drinks were flowing. People were coming in, having fun.
How was the day for you, though?
The day itself, so the day in Zimbabwe was, it was good. It started, I don't know, is it a black thing? Is it an African thing? Whatever it is, we just never on time. I don't know if it's it's just the color of my skin. Is it I'm African? I don't know what it is, but for some reason we're basically an hour late.
Oh my God.
This is the funny part. So in their culture, Zimbabwe culture, right? You're supposed to pay a certain amount to be allowed to come into the compound on the day as part of the whole ceremony and whatnot. So because we're late, we come. Our intermediary because I had it at the back of my head. Like, I know we're supposed to pay a certain amount to come in here, but they just kind of ushered us in. We're just like, okay, come in, clap. So you have to clap like this. It's very specific. So we come in, so sat down, getting ready. So the intermediate comes in after talking to the people in the living room. And then it says, all right, so we're going to speed things up, bunch a few things together. However, there's a fine because you didn't pay. No, not even that we're late. You didn't pay. You didn't ask for permission to come in and you didn't pay. So now there's a fine.
Right.
I was like, I knew it. I knew it. Oh, man. But the day itself was good.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed it. We had to dance a lot.
I saw those ones.
Dance a lot. We couldn't eat. You know that thing that it was so true, like how the bride and the groom never get to like and eat on the day. Like there was a point where every time I tried to pick up the folk to eat, and the bride and the groom every time, so much so that one of my aunts noticed that I was trying to eat that. So she was just pitying me. Man, the day was so funny, but it went well. And then come Lagos now, same thing again. Ah, man. This one was not even really my fault. My groomsman, well, basically all three of them, one of them, his measurements were incorrect. So the tailor had to redo the whole suit the night before.
Jesus.
The other one, his measurements, the top half was good. The bottom half wasn't good, so he had to redo that as well. And then the one who they had to redo his whole suit, he was coming with all three of the suits because the plan was the tailor would give him all the suits that were being refitted and he would come. So now this has caused wahala. He's coming from the island. We're waiting. I'm already suited up. I've taken all my pictures, done my whole speech, everything, because she's in the other hotel now. So we have to go there and do the whole dramatic entrance, take the pictures. Now I'm just there sitting in the hotel
waiting
room.
for these people to dress up.
I'm like, brother, come on. And then we're leaving the hotel now. And so I don't have a SIM card because my line doesn't work. So the person who's attached to us, my mom is ringing his phone. It's belling off. Like, I just see mom. He's like, Mots, what should we do? I said, look, don't pick that phone. Because if you pick that phone, we're going to be extra late. Just leave that phone alone. We'll deal with it when we get there. Fast forward now, we get to the venue. Do you know we still had to wait an hour? Because the venue wasn't ready. Bro, after stressing on the phone, the venue was still not ready.
Oh my God.
I'm like, this is Nigeria. This is Nigeria. Ah, man.
Anyway, everything shall worked out because those photos are stunning. Glad you're back now. I mean, okay, so what I want to leave you with this last question is, you know, you've kind of took this from being punished because you left art school to now kind of using art to tell your stories and stuff. If there's like a kid or someone watching out there and they're like, oh, you know, I want to go down this path, what kind of advice would you have to share?
Definitely, if you're younger, then I'm 27 now, whatever. If you're still in your teens, like early, and you like the idea of drawing, you want to make it as a career. The first thing is just like build a community. Like I can't emphasize how important that is. If you have a community of people who have the same, they may not necessarily be artists, but they have ideas. They can give you something that's not tangible, but like it will help you in some way in your arts. You know, build people who actually want you to succeed. That's another thing too, because people just hang around you because they think, oh, you know, this might take off one day. Let me just stick around, but they don't actually believe in that. So build an actual community. You don't need a lot, just need like 2-3 people. That's it. That will support you in your dreams, and you know you can support them. So build a community. Start from now, build a portfolio in whatever capacity you can, whether it's your IG, your Sketchpad, anywhere that people can see your growth online. Just do that and create whatever form your art is, whether you are a digital artist, whether you're more oil and acrylics, music even. This doesn't apply to just like drawing, this is like music, whatever it is, or art form looks like. Build a community, put your portfolio online somewhere so that people can track your growth and then keep you accountable. The way the algorithms work now, if you're not like up to date, like people will just forget you. It's just the reality of things. Like I've experienced it, and I'm trying to get back into it now. So build your portfolio, post as regularly as possible. Doesn't have to be like finished work, just this is a little thing I did today. Tomorrow or next tomorrow, this is a little thing I did today. Just keep doing that. Pray, stay prayed up, because with God everything's possible. So that's also key as well. And yeah, just have a plan as well. Like even like the art you say you want to create, okay, realize that if you want to make money from it, have an actual plan. Talk to people in your family who are business savvy, or your friends who are business savvy. Don't be shy to reach out to an older person. You never know what they know. Say, hey, I want to create arts, whatever form that looks like. And I just want some guidance on how do I set up, like, how do I trademark this? How do I patent this? How do I safeguard this? I need a logo. Like ask them all the business side of things so that you stay smart up. So by the time you're in your adult years or you're in your older years, you're already equipped from before. Like I didn't have any of that. I'm still figuring out. And, there's so much I don't even know right now. But I feel like if I know what I know now when I was 16, 17, I was so much wiser side of the game. But yeah, it's definitely stay prayed up, ask people around you, build a community, and build a portfolio.
Man, Omotola, thank you so much for the creative work you do, and for always making my show shine. It's true. It's true.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate being on here and being able to just this is the first time I've ever been able to like get bits of pieces of my story out. So happy to be here, and looking forward to everything else that's to come out of the Blackout podcast.
Yeah.